Hey gang, I thought I'd do something different and make an unboxing video because I just got this great big package of wood and I'm really interested in seeing what's in there. I bought this from my friend and mentor David Freeman at Timeless Instruments, who is the person who taught me how to build guitars. When it comes to wood, I like working with smaller suppliers. Nothing against the big ones, it's nice when you can to sort of help out a small business, family run, spread the money around, you know. So we'll crack it open and see what's inside. This comes to me from Tugaski, which is a bustling metropolis of about 80 souls in the heart of Canada's prairie province of Saskatchewan. And it's situated right between the towns of Elbow and Eyebrow. And outside of town you have this, just endless rolling prairie. There's lots of farmlands, just acres upon acres of wheat and canola and other grains. Gigantic skies, brilliant sunsets, and everything's a sort of a lesson in one-point perspective here. This is the train track outside of town. David's been running his school there for more than 30 years. It's a great place because with so few distractions, all you do is think about guitars for a couple of months. This is a little workstation where I built my first guitar. You can see it's a small, simple complement of tools, and it's a great experience, focusing on the basics. So, what's in the box? I see we have some spruce and some maple. The soundboards and the backs. Looks like really great stuff. And then we have the side sets. Everything's nicely packaged. And it smells great too. And it looks like he included a flyer for Princess Auto, which is the Canadian equivalent of Harbor Freight, sort of inexpensive Chinese tooling. It's good to read. And there we have it, some wonderful looking maple here. This is big leaf maple from the West Coast. These are sequentially cut from the same tree, so I've got 5 sets, all from the same log. And would you just look at that stuff? It's gorgeous. Straight grain. Really nicely quarter sawn, nice and even. These are the sides. It's the same story here. Just enough curl to make it interesting visually, but not so much that it's, you know, a real nightmare to bend, which is great. Spruce looks wonderful too. This is Engelmann spruce, which it might even be Lutz, which is an Engelmann-Sitka hybrid that happens in northern BC. I told David I was working with some smaller sizes so that if he had stock with knots in it, then send it on over because I could make use of it. To start off joining a soundboard, I'll take a couple of swipes with the block plane there just to clean up the rough surface on the area of the joint where I'll be planing so I can see and work to, you know, a specific grain line. Then it's over to the shooting board here. This is more difficult than it looks with the hand plane on its side. You have to keep really balanced pressure with your hands. And to check the joint out, I'll put it on a flat surface and rub them back and forth, and they sort of rock on the high spots. You go back and refine them, and then eventually I'll start looking at the thing with a very bright light behind it. And I don't want to see any gaps. I want it perfectly flat. This is my joining jig. These are machine screws that I run in on both sides. And you can see what happens is it presses on the edges and it springs up in the center by about 1/2 inch or 5/8 or so. And I apply some glue to the soundboard. And in this case I'm using the regular yellow aliphatic resin glue. I like hide glue, but it's January and I can only get my shop up to about 67 degrees here in the winter, which is really kind of cold for use with hide glue. I have no problem using the yellow tight bond style glues. I think they're great adhesive. They have a long track record. They don't separate if you do a good joint, and I think tonally I can't hear any difference between hide glue and the yellow glue. So I'll put them in place here, get both sides. I want to transfer a little bit of the generous coating I put on the one edge over to the other to make sure they're both nice and wet. I'll align them, get them where I want them, and then just press down. And I'll take this scraper little spatula here and press down to make sure that both sides are in contact with the base of the jig here, the work board. Scrape off a little bit of the excess squeeze out. I'm not concerned with the stuff that remains. That planes off pretty easily. And then this is a little clamping caul that bridges the joint on both sides, holds it firmly in place while the glue dries. This has actually got a slight curve or a camber planed into the bottom of it, so that when I put a clamp on both sides, it puts pressure on the ends and forces the center down into solid contact. So there's no chance for it to bow upwards. You get good even pressure all along the both sides of the joint there. So I'll leave this set up in clamps here for about 5 hours or so. Then I'll take it out, let it sit, and work on another soundboard. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.